Hi guys, Simon Trezellian here for the Lockdown Chronicles 18, and today welcome to the farm. A lot of people have been asking me about some of these globalist agendas that they're perceiving, a lot of stuff on the internet at the moment, as to why this pandemic has been like it is, why some of the draconian laws are being rolled out, and why our freedoms have largely been eroded. And in order to understand this, you understand how the 1% want this globalist agenda and how they perceive us, is that you've got to understand animal husbandry. Okay, so you understand sheep farming or cattle farming or pig farming. So within that, of course, there is the farmer. The farmer is the controller. He's the person that actually sets the parameters and sets the controlling mechanisms for the flock or for the herd of cattle. And therefore, he has to create an environment which actually suits him. The farmer's in it for profit, of course. He's not doing it for the benefit of his health. It's not because he loves animals. He's utilizing those animals specifically in order to create a profit, in order to sustain his lifestyle. So in order for it to do that, he has to create an area of protection for that. So he protects his flock from potential predators like wolves or foxes or birds of prey, and actually gives the stock a feeling of security. The fact that they're actually in there, they're protected, they're fed, they're housed, they're given warmth if necessary. So they're actually quite happy in regards to that. So he can control where they go, but also he can actually control all aspects of their lives. I mean, every single aspect, from breeding, from eating, sleeping, travel, all of those things are controlled by the farmer. However, the cattle still feel that they actually have some degree of control and freedom in their life because they're allowed to roam around inside the corral or roam around inside the field. And of course, they don't necessarily see that being a problem because they're willing to give up some of their freedoms for the protection that the farmer actually gives them. So he can determine this area of dependency by creating food. So now the stock don't actually have to go out and find food anymore. The food is presented to them at certain times, which keeps them into a routine and keeps them where the farmer requires them. He can actually put the amounts up or put the amounts down. He can change the timings. He's in total control of that. And he's also allowing them to a limited breeding program as well, because he wants to use the stock to create more stock. Not so much that it becomes overwhelming and that he can't afford to feed them, but enough stock to be able to replace some of the stock that inevitably are either going to be dying or that are going to be killed off. So this whole element there of euthanasia or exploitation of the stock, it also comes down to what is now known, of course, as eugenics, which is what a lot of people are talking about as the depopulation of the world. People are perceiving that there's not enough resources in the world, and therefore we all have to depopulate in order that the majority of healthy humans can sustain ourselves on this planet. And there's a lot of talk in regards to that. They talk a lot about what we call useless eaters, people that are taking the resources of the world without actually giving back anything to them, like service or the ability for farmers to be able to exploit them. So these are like older stock, pensioners perhaps, people that have outlived their usefulness to create asset or to create profit for the farmers or for the globalists. So we then start to see that the young parts of the flock need to be protected, and of course the farmer vaccinates them against different ailments, but he's not going to vaccinate the old ones because they're going to die anyway, so why would you go to that expense? But he can see value in vaccinating the younger ones because they're going to grow, and they're going to grow into healthy adults. They're going to be able to be fleeced for their fleece. They can be exploited for their milk, and they can be exploited for their meat once it is decided that they're no longer useful as living beings. So that's actually how the farmer then does it. He has to make a clear calculation in regards to the profit margin between what one of his stock is actually going to create for their lifetime versus how much it actually costs to feed, to vaccinate, to look after that stock, to house it, to keep it warm, keep it healthy. And there is an absolute calculation that he has to do. And if that calculation works out for him, then the stock continue to breed and continue to live. Once that calculation goes against it, then he's going to exploit them and kill them. So when they're no longer viable, the farmer then has to make that decision, and it's a very clear and very cold decision, because it's now all about profits. Now, one can actually see this in the world, as human beings. Each of us has value. Every time a human being puts any type of energy into something, whether they're thinking of something, writing something, painting a fence, digging a garden, whatever that human being does adds value to whatever it is they're exerting their energy on. And as we grow up as younger humans, we are vaccinated because people want to keep us alive. They want to see that we're going to be of value to society or value to the community. And therefore we are kept and we're fed and we're housed and we're given affection. We're told, how wonderful we are. We're trained to create some skills that can be used and exploited by someone else for profit. So once we do that, of course, then we create value, and that's when someone comes in and fleeces us, usually the tax man, who will come and take a part of what you've earned with your own sweat, blood and tears, and that's like a yearly thing, and we get told to understand that, and we get told that if we don't do that, then we're going to lose our essential services like our roads and our protection from our military and a protection from our police force, protection from our fire service and our ambulance service. So there's a lot of guilt that is positioned on human beings in order to keep being fleeced every year and not complain about it. And then we're exploited all the way through until our death, and even in some cases, even our death exact some form of death tax as well, so therefore they'll take any other assets that are available so you don't pass them on to your progeny. So we can actually see that we are the animals on the farm, and we have given up a lot of our freedoms, we have given up a lot of our comforts in order to be able to feel safe. And of course the farmer, or this 1%, the people that are actually that seems to rule the world, hope that we don't wake up. They hope that at some point we don't rebel. They hope that at some point we decide that our freedom is worth more than the comfort that is actually being given to us. And at that point, that is when the fear changes. Right now, the fear is in loss of our houses, loss of our jobs, loss of our health, loss of our life. All of those are real fears, and some of them are tangible fears as well. And those fears are now being accelerated in order that we're quite happy to give up a little more of our freedoms, a little more of the things that we took for granted in order to feel safe. But what if we saw through that? What if we realised that there's actually a lot more of us than there is of them, and that at some point the sheep actually don't need the farmer? They can go away, they can breed, they're animals, they have life, they have consciousness, they could find food, they could actually find shelter themselves, and they could actually breed and create lots more little sheep and have lives. But they don't. And while they don't, the farmer will continue to maintain control. Life is about control. And therefore, we can actually see that we are merely, at the present time, animals on the farm. At some point in time, we may need to wake up. We may need to see ourselves and see the value for who we actually are, and realize that value is due to us and not due to anyone else. This is Simon Trezelyan from the Lockdown Chronicles. Out to you.